here's my problem right now. There are so many warning signs about where we're headed between the candidates, between what's happening in our society with the social issues like gender. There's major corporations that are so intrusive in our lives, monitoring everything, listening in to everything, recording everything we're doing, and we've allowed it all into our homes willingly, and nobody ever had to force it on us. So the latest little intrusion into our lives is the Nest system. Do you have Nest at home?
No.
Oh, that's good.
No.
That's good, because
I've got something else.
We do. We have the Nest.
But it's just, you talking about the thermostat thing?
Yeah, the thermostat where it controls your heat.
I specifically got one that wasn't associated with Google.
Oh, did you? Mm-hmm. That was smart, because Google didn't mention this. But, they never meant for it to be a secret. I just want you to know that.
Oh, what?
Far be it from them
gosh.
to keep this from... It was supposed to be on the packaging itself, and I don't know. It was just a mistake.
They run out of ink that day? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. There was a built-in microphone in the Nest system, and gosh, of course they're not going to turn it on.
Oh, no.
There's a microphone in the Nest system? Yeah, and you have to specifically turn it on for it to be, turned on. Yeah, I looked for the Nest system microphone and how you can specifically turn it on. There's no mention of it in the system, in the instructions, in the description of what you're buying. Nothing.
Oh, my gosh.
Wait, why would you put a microphone in a home thermostat system? What the hell is that for?
Dirty, man. So what is this do no evil crap they always like to tell?
Yes, right.
Shut up.
Don't be evil. Maybe you should listen to that motto that you used to have, Google. They announced that their home security and alarm system, Nest Secure, would be getting an update. Users could now enable its virtual assistant technology, because Nest never mentioned that they had virtual assistant technology, like a microphone in it. And now all of a sudden, it's in there. And then you can do the Nest Security, which is the alarm, keypad, and motion sensor component in the Nest Secure offering, which was never disclosed in any of the product material for this device.
Wow.
A Google representative said the company had made an error in not including that in the product material. The on-device microphone was never intended to be a secret and should have been listed in the tech specs. That was an error on our part.
I can't.
Can you believe this? Google says the microphone has never been on and is only activated when users specifically enable the option.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
I looked completely through my system last night. There's no way to turn it on. There's no way to turn it off either. And there's no mention of it.
Can you find on the unit
at all
where it is? So
nope.
You don't even know
where
it is?
No, I just looked for it last night.
So
after I read this article,
unbelievable.
I specifically went to my Nest unit and looked for it. There's no way to enable a microphone. It doesn't say anything about a microphone being included in it. So I don't know. Are we supposed to believe that all of this stuff is an error? Oops. Good golly. Wow. I don't know. How was that not included? Who dropped the ball on that? That's unacceptable.
When Jim was making these, he accidentally slipped one in there.
And then he was going to...
It became a part of the template.
And then he was going to write it down, though, that, so you'd know when you buy the system that there's a microphone there and we could listen to everything you say.
Shoot.
He forgot.
Through, and then
nobody picked it up.
The assembly line, and next thing you know, we're having to write an article about it 70 years later.
Mm-hmm. Hey, but here's a cool thing. Now you can use it in our security system.
Yeah, if you want to.
If you want to. I mean,
as long as it's there.
It's there.
Might as well go ahead. Seriously.
What next? What are we going to find out next? Is this a problem right now? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's not a big deal. But could it be a problem in the future where they're monitoring everything you say? Well, I don't care if Google listens to everything I say. I'm not doing anything wrong. Yeah, You don't know that. You're not the person who decides if what you're saying and doing is wrong. Somebody else will be doing that. When the government becomes overbearing or oppressive, it's not us who decide whether or not what we're saying or doing is wrong. That's the people in power who decide that.
In Privacy Watch, Google has been fined $57 million for violating the European Union's new data privacy rules. The National Data Protection Commission said Google had a lack of transparency and a lack of valid consent for personalized ads for users.
And because of the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, that went into effect in May, they have had to pay a hefty fine. It's the first penalty for a U.S. tech company under the new regulation. Jennifer 𝙂𝙤𝙤𝙤 is a social media expert as well as an assistant professor of communications at Syracuse University. Very nice to see you again. Often we get to see you here, but I'm glad you could join us this early in the morning. So explain to us what Google did to get these fines and why they're not complying with the brand new GDPR. I suppose I'm not surprised because it's operating under conditions that a lot of these tech companies don't have to comply with here in the United States. So this is brand new for them.
If you look at what the French regulator said, they actually indicated that the problem is at the infrastructure rule. So it's not like Google just decided not to, comply with this regulation. Their infrastructure is fundamentally flawed. And since GDPR and this record fine has come, we now know that, at Google, business is not, going to be able to continue the way that it has. The business model needs to change, and the product also needs to change.
So the violations were in regards to personalized ads. So what user information has been affected?
So it's any type of behavioral targeting based on what websites you visit, what type of content you might read, how you shop online. They're collecting all these types of data. But what happened here, too, is that when they were collecting that privacy consent, they were bundling too many products. So when you checked a box, which was often pre-checked, so they're trying to guide you to giving away your privacy, you were signing off for the multitude of Google services. So it would have been like YouTube, plus Google Maps, plus everything else in their wheelhouse. So again, they want slower, more granulated consent under GDPR.
So what does Google really need to do now? When you say it's an infrastructure thing, is there anything they can do really quickly to prevent themselves from getting another fine?
Well, some of the stuff like making sure that checkboxes aren't checked, that type of stuff is a little bit easier, but I do think they have a lot of work to do, but they knew this law was coming. And so what's going to happen, too, is they're going to see how much, they can keep as is, but these fines are going to add up. And I think that they need to invest a whole lot more resources in making sure that they aren't violating these new rules. And really, Europe is leading the way here. So you're going to start to see what's called regulatory harmonization, where the product at the infrastructure level is rolled out globally. And we're going to be the beneficiaries here in like the United States, where we don't have these types of privacy regulations yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because this is the first penalty for a U.S. tech company, so we could probably see more.
Oh, absolutely. And this was the French regulator said actually that this was the first and time they did it, but it was also the max that they could impose. So this is the French regulator and European regulators showing that they will go as hard as they can on the fine, and that Google really needs to take this seriously. It'll add up over time and establish a history of company wrongdoing.
Yeah, they certainly said we mean business and we're not going to give you any wiggle room. There are also reports that the Federal Trade Commission here in the U.S. is investigating whether Facebook violated privacy rules. So what type of penalties could Facebook face for this, and what would it really mean for this platform that has really already been struggling a lot with privacy issues?
Yeah. So again, this is still more fallout from Cambridge Analytica, which happened last year, where we found out that Facebook was essentially being used to harvest user data. And that was a huge scandal because of the implications here within the U.S. Presidential election around gathering information on people to then target political ads at them. So what was happening there, too, is that the FTC had a consent decree in place, and they're now investigating, based on those reports, what happened there, to see if Facebook violated those rules. And what we're seeing reported on in the last couple of days is that they could hit record fines, maybe one of the largest fines ever. And so, again, sometimes these fines may seem small, as in this case here, like 57, I think it was euros or millions. And when you have a billion-dollar company, that may not seem like a lot, but again, it will establish a history of wrongdoing, and they will be able to increase the fines going forward.
All right, Jennifer, always great information from you. Thank you so much.
Sure.
AT&T, our parent company, has a message for Google's YouTube. It says it's pulling all of its advertising from YouTube over inappropriate content that's raising child exploitation fears, and it's not alone. This is about innocent posts on YouTube of things like young females doing gymnastics, and then unsavory, arguably paedophilic, comments attached to it and corporate advertisers around it. YouTube is saying it's looking what it can do. If you're a big brand, what do you do about this?
If you're a big brand, you do exactly what those brands did. You run for the hills. Richard, here's a new term. You're going to hear it here first, but you're going to hear it a lot in the next few years. Adjacency awareness. It no longer is good enough to run ads where you think people are watching. You have to know what's around them. Because, let's face it, nobody knew what was there. It's algorithms that pick where the ads run. But the activists, the objectors, they use the same algorithms, we call it Google, to find where these ads are.
Content adjacency and brand safety are not new concepts. Here's the problem YouTube is having. You've described it perfectly. These are videos of young children doing whatever young children do, and pedophiles writing in code are communicating with each other internally, and that community is leveraging a very wholesome environment to do really bad stuff.
But is it possible for YouTube?
Yes.
Is it possible technologically?
No, it doesn't. It's not a technological thing at all, because you don't need that. It's called human curation. You have a content and community manager who manages a community, and you step it up YouTube, and you step it up Facebook, and you take responsibility for what's on your platform.
All right, but Bruce...
Shelley is absolutely right.
But, Bruce, will that be enough for companies? I mean, at the end of the day...
that would be enough.
Well, at the end of the day, even with human curation, you're still going to have these incidents happening because algorithms are so powerful. What do companies do, Bruce?
What the companies have to do is exactly what Shelley said. They have to be aware of everywhere their message is, because once again, adjacency awareness says you are going to be blamed for whatever you're next to, and you can like it or dislike it. You can say it's fair or unfair, but at the end of the day, none of that matters. What matters is that you don't want your brand next to something that people find distasteful.